Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a good Friday, TGIF. I just wanted to do a quick video here regarding otherwise specified DD, dissociative disorder, DID, any kind of dissociation. We've heard about depersonalization and derealization. All of these conditions, if you will, are very human, and I think it's very important to remember that they are our own built-in safety system. So if our systems, our human mind, our experience goes through something that's just too much for us to even be present with, we have this built-in system that helps us get out of it. So I just wanted to share two techniques and even concepts that maybe can help a little bit. One is to think of time orientation. So regardless of where you're at on that spectrum of very, very mild versus all the way over to actually having different personalities like DID has, time orientation. So saying simple little things like, oh, thank goodness childhood is over. Or, gee, how much gas do I have in the tank out in my car? Or, did I have breakfast? What did I have for breakfast today? These kinds of silly little questions, as I was trained to say, are ways for us to get into 2024. The problem with trauma and our brains being traumatized is we're often on trauma time. And that means if we're dissociating back into 1975 when the abuse happened, we're no longer in this time frame. So asking the brain those little questions sometimes is enough to get us more present. And oh wow. Also looking at your hands, if you're starting to go, as I call it, even looking at the hands. Wow, are these the hands of a 7-year-old? No, they're definitely not. So even looking at your hands can be a way to get into this time zone, the present 2024. Rest assured, if something horrible happens now in 2024, your brain will probably take you out of it if it needs to. So it's still trying to help us out. The other concept is grounding and anchoring. Grounding is becoming more into the moment. It's a little bit different than time orientation. It's like I can see behind me my beautiful plant. Somebody commented on that. Thank you. I love that fern. I'm babysitting for the winter, and then I'm going to take it back to my aunt's house to have it outside. But that kind of thing, just a silly little, oh, I got a little story about my cute little fern. That kind of thing can ground us into more pleasant thoughts, more pleasant experiences. Looking at the color, even maybe smelling the leaves, touching the leaves, they can be very grounding. And anchoring, even the concept of, oh, anchoring, let's think of a time that anchors me more into something pleasant. A person can be anchoring. Sometimes when I'm meeting with somebody in a session, I see them start to go, as I call it. Whether they have full-blown DID or otherwise specified DD, or just they're starting to go somewhere else. I'll say, oh, where are you going? And sometimes I'll call them by name, especially if we've made a plan that they want to stay present for this session. Sometimes parts do want to talk, and that's okay. But if somebody wants their main person to stay present, I'll ask a question like that. So in that regard, I'm the anchor. Like, oh, you're still in my office. Let's look around. What do you see in here that you like? Oh, I have lots of monarch butterflies on the wall. Picturing, letting the person look around, even turning the head. That is a good way to come back to the present. Grounding, anchoring my seat in my chair, my feet on the floor, being present, anchoring to a person, anchoring to a pet, anchoring to a plant, a song maybe, something that gives us that, oh yeah, I remember where I am, and something more positive than trauma time. I hope this helps. Feel free to give me suggestions and comments, and subscribe and like. So many of you are. I really appreciate that. And if there's interest, I'll keep on making these videos. Have a good weekend.